All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Brogan, and today we are back for another Simple Signals stream. Now, I'm going to be gloating today. I am going to be gloating today because I was right, okay? I was right, and everyone was wrong, and I'm the best in the world. So I did forewarn this, a couple days ago, Friday to be precise. I said, I think we're going to go down to, I believe it was like 95-ish K, and I think we're going to bounce from there and, do our kind of process. And I was pretty much dead on right. So there'll be a bit of gloating today, but majoritively, obviously, I will try to give some actual details. But I'm gonna indulge in a little bit of gloating, okay, as I usually do. But regardless, I think we're doing pretty well in the market. Obviously, if you did watch Friday's stream and kind of know what I'm talking about over the past, Monday, Friday, whatever, my sentiment is pretty bullish, and I think we've started the week off properly, and how we need to do anyway. Because my kind of takeaway analysis from Friday was that we needed to print at a certain price and then proceed on obviously today to go upwards in order for us to actually go upwards and actually be profitable. So we've done that. We're doing pretty well, so we'll get into it. Obviously, we'll look at some percentages first. So hello to everyone, welcome. I think I'll just get started. I don't want to yap. Let's just put a timer on, okay? Let's just get going. So we can see Bitcoin up 1.29% 24 hours, so pretty decent. We did have a dump, well, not really a dump per se, but we came down quite a bit. And like surpassed some equilibrium. Obviously, I'll show it when we go onto the charts. But the 24-hour percentage moving upwards isn't obviously too strong, but it's still pretty good. But again, I think it's gonna be so much more when we come into later on in the week. So if we go through it though, Ethereum 2,600. I can't remember what price it was when I looked at it last stream. I really don't remember, but regardless, looking pretty good, nearly 2% up. Yeah, the 7-day, I mean, we kind of proceeded over the weekend to continue to go downwards. It was only at like the kind of last minute of the print between last week and this week that we actually saw the print at the equilibrium which we need to see. So still pretty negative on the 7-day, but again, that's going to all change. And I want to look at Solana. So $200, I think that's pretty good. That's pretty much equilibrium. So obviously, if you've seen any streams, past stream or 2 or 3, when I've been showing the Solana equilibrium, we're pretty much sitting there. So not really too exciting on Solana. But I'm just going to move on to some 24-hour gains and losers. Fartcoin, I hate Fartcoin. I hate it so much. You guys know this. If you've watched any of the streams, I despise Fartcoin. I despise it. 31% up. I think it's the worst coin in the world. I hate meme coins in general. If you know me, you know I hate meme coins. Okay. Obviously, I'm gonna do a video on Trump and Melania soon. Those coins anyway. I despise Fartcoin. I hate looking at it. I think it's the worst thing in the world. I don't really care about who's up and down. Like Trump coin, yeah, it's pile crap. It's all pile crap. So, it's to be expected. I'm not really much interested. I mean, Litecoin's pretty good. Litecoin's pretty good, but again, who cares? Really, realistically, who cares? Let's just go on to the charts. Okay, so we're on the weekly here. We're on the weekly. Let me just zoom in a bit, okay? Because I'm realizing now that I'm looking at this in front of you, this is pretty messy, and I should probably zoom into maybe the 4-hour to see. So here we go. So this is what we're kind of looking at. If you were here last stream, this was about Monday. Let me zoom down a bit. There we go. So about Monday here, we kind of proceed to go down from there, coming down. So where were we exactly? I think we were about... Oh, no, it was Friday, wasn't it? Yeah, so we obviously had the Monday stream, obviously talking about coming up towards 102, which we did is pretty much exactly. So obviously, if you remember the stream before that one, talking about where we could come from up here, I kind of talked about proceeding back to 102 and then bouncing off of that, which obviously we did. Obviously proceeding downwards, coming to Friday stream. My main kind of... The price point I was kind of focusing on majoritively on Friday was this equilibrium at 95.8 towards about 95.3. This whole area down here, which you can see, we use pretty well, especially on this candle here. But the main point, let me go back onto the weekly now. The main thing I do want to kind of show is this right here, okay? Because if you do remember Friday, this was crucial. This was the crucial price point. I said we need to print off and obviously basically bounce off and stay at in order for us to be able to have a positive week this week, which obviously, as you can see, at 96,455, we have a very nice bounce. Okay, so, my obviously next judgment is now going to be, as you may be able to see by this trade here, is coming up back up towards the 100Ks and whatever, really high up here. Okay, so I think we're going to see that. Obviously, this is technically a higher low. I think we'll kind of come up and surpass this and, proceed back upwards to 106K, whatever. Obviously, if you were here for Friday, you would know what I'm talking about. So kind of this stream, again, I did classify this on Friday. I either have streams where I give a lot of information, or there's streams where I kind of gloat a bit and, show you guys the result of something I talked about on a previous stream. And then obviously, kind of give a bit more of an analysis. So I can't really say much more. Well, obviously I will say much more, but, in terms of the general sentiment and the general kind of takeaway from what I think we're going to see in the next couple of days and whatever, for the majority of coins, is going to be that moving back upwards towards some higher prices, especially for Bitcoin in this case, 106.5K, whatever. So I am in this trade. I am in. I think I got in 96.3 or something like that. When did I get in this? Yeah, I think it's something like 96.3. Or no, actually, where this line is, was it 95.6? It might be 95.6. One of these prices, I am in a trade. So I do think this is going to kind of continue to happen, and move on upwards towards some higher prices, especially 106K. This, for an example, this is where I have it, but you could do it at maybe 104K, 105K at some of these resistance points. But my main one is the highest one, even, which is about 106K. So I do think we are going to see that. Let me go back down to the daily quickly. So yeah, a very nice print. It's pretty odd in terms of the actual kind of candles themselves and the way they're printed and whatever. So we can see these massive wicks, massive wicks here and there. But it just kind of shows the kind of stopping point and the stopping power even this price point had. Okay, this main price point I was kind of focusing on when we looked at it on Friday. So I'm pretty happy about this. Okay, I'm pretty happy. I don't know about you guys. I know some of you probably watched on Friday, looking at this trade and kind of looking at these prices. So yeah, I think my main thing I said was, if we do print above this, I think we'll go up. So again, obviously something you have to kind of be watching the chart for, unless you get in with the confidence that it's gonna happen. Obviously you might not be in a trade for this because you don't know if it's going to print above or below. But pointing out the previous time we had a support bounce, it was a couple $100 off the support anyway, so it wasn't that bad. So I think that the idea I had was pretty much, we had a lot of leeway for it, considering where we came from on Friday, and how I was kind of feeling about this, and I think, okay, I think we're going to bounce off this. I think we are in a good scenario to go up. And again, considering where we've come from, I think we're in a really good situation right now for Bitcoin. So where's next? Okay, I've yapped quite a bit about this. Where's next? Coming from this price point, coming from this bounce, I think we're going to have a positive week this week. What can that mean for us? And what sort of price points are we expecting? Well, one of them, I think we're definitely we probably have difficulty in here because, again, breaker blocks, I always talk about them. Yes, they may be order blocks and they might have resistance, but they do eventually get flipped to obviously be support. Well, in this case, it's support, as we can see by this negative breaker block, or negative order block, which will be flipped to a positive breaker block. So we might see resistance at 99.5. We might see that. But if we go back to the 4 hour, I think we do see a bit of resistance in these midpoints, especially from forming it and then kind of coming back into it. So I do think we will flip this, relatively easily as we're coming up. I don't think 99.5 is going to be, the difficult area we need to focus on. I definitely think it's going to be a lot higher, a lot higher than that. So I think we'll surpass this pretty easily. This will be a good support point anyway. I think in terms of the main prices on the high and the low, this kind of low has been one of our main higher lows. So obviously we did have the wicks, but again, we're having a thought out proper low here, which is now kind of arcing upwards and starting to show signs of being a positive trend. So a really solid thought out print at the bottom. I think with this will kind of continue to go upwards, and then obviously as I expect, with 109.8 being our top end. Now also remember what on the history of Bitcoin and the history of the patterns, if you will, of Bitcoin's kind of price action, not only on the lower ends, but in terms of month by month basis. January has normally been a month which hasn't had the most positivity, especially in some of the earlier periods of being in January. There is quite a big sell-off normally, or a considerable negative sentiment in January, obviously from December's positivity. So obviously we had the positive December, as like every other year. Obviously the negativity was a bit later. Obviously we did have some kind of coming into the start of January. Obviously this one now, especially with this dump towards 91k, was pretty much on the end of January towards the start of February. And then the second thing after this is normally between the 8th of February onwards, or maybe giving it a 5-day padding, there is a pump. This is normally when you start to see positive movements. If you go into Mike's streams, I believe Mike might have talked about this on some other streams, and obviously I'm no different. Normally on the 8th of February, or last year's pump during February was on the 8th. So, relatively similar here. I think 8th, 9th, 10th, very close together in terms of, where we could see that pump. I think that is unlike any other year. I think it's very similar. I think we are going to have this bump. I think this is, going to continue as with every other year. Okay, so all it really is then now is, what prices we're going to see. Not really what direction, because I do think we are going to go up this week. I do think we are going to see positivity. I don't think that's quite hard to say. I don't think that's out of the ordinary. Okay, so in terms of the higher range, obviously I have talked about 106, but if you remember the Elliott waves, if you were here for the stream, if you remember the Elliott waves, which KB pointed out, also welcome KB, I saw you said evening, the main price was 127k. I have 125k, so if I go to that quickly, the main price I have up here about 125.5k. Okay, so the main trend we've had, if I go to the weekly, and this I drew this last year, or I say last year, it was towards the end of last year. This was my prediction in terms of where I could see some prices bounce and whatnot. So I do think we've had our bounce off 104.5k. We've had our bounce off of 93.9. I think this is going to be our surpass of that equilibrium, hopefully coming up towards 116. So that's my next price, is about 117, 116. I do think we'll have a bit of retracement from there, coming up then towards 125. But to be fair, the Elliott wave, I think I still have the image. I can't remember what the general trend was, but if we show his chart quickly, this is very similar. Actually, this is pretty much exactly what I said. I didn't even realize. So in terms of the Elliott waves KB drew, this is pretty much identical to what I just said. I didn't even realize that. In terms of going towards roughly 117, obviously in this case 114k, coming back down towards this all-time high period, which is basically, if I hide this quickly again, which is back down here at whatever the wick was at 109k, whatever it was. Oh no. Was it the previous one? Whichever one it was exactly. Roughly where I said, about 104k, let's say. And then from that position, going up all the way to the, obviously the next resistance point, which I think is 125k. In this case, for KV, I believe that says 120k. Yeah, obviously, and then there's that gap to 127. So we could have resistance during the movement upwards towards 127k. But I definitely think, for me, that price point is going to be 116k. So in terms of not only this current kind of position we're in for Bitcoin, in terms of coming from 97.3 or whatever we are right now, I think it's going to extend even further than 106k. I think it's going to go even higher than that, to 116k. Okay, so I think if you want to play a long-term play, I think now is still a great time to buy, even though we have had this bounce. So, for example, for me, my trade is towards 106k for Bitcoin. Now, obviously, that is a trade which is going to take a lot less time to kind of play out. But if you wanted a longer-term trade, then you could probably get in, set and forget type of thing. If you do from right now, let's say, all the way up to about 125k, that's about 30% move upwards. I think Mike is here, so you might be able to tell me. I don't know what the pump is during the February normally. Hopefully he has the mic on and he can tell me. Or he has his headset on, he can tell me. I don't know if it was 30%. I know there's normally like those sorts of corrections, but I don't know if that's something which is a pattern over the over years and years. But anyway, I think that could be a longer term play coming up towards 125k, longing from here and kind of just letting it play out. But obviously for me personally, it's more so the movement towards 106k, 106.5k, and then that being my exit for the trade. Now I do think it will take, I don't think it's going to take just a week for us to come up to 106k, because normally it takes a couple of candles. We'll probably see maybe up towards 102k, back up to there during this week. But again, hey, we can have these candles where we come from 104k all the way down to 94k. So we could have a candle which brings us from 97 all the way back up to, 105, 104k. I'm not saying that's, out of the realm of possibility. I'm just kind of being a bit more conservative with that and saying it might take a candle or two, aka a week or two, for this to occur. But again, going back to my main sentiment, I do think, we are going to see that moving upwards during this week. I think that's kind of confirmed in my mind. Obviously, that's a personal thing. Whether you believe that or not is a different story. But I do think we're going to be seeing that that movement back up towards 106k. So that's what I have personally. Obviously, I think I have sent a screenshot on the Telegram before with that trade. If you've seen it, if you've not, then. But again, the main thing was being on that stream on Friday, because I did talk about it in the Telegram, but I think the majority of people who saw my trade or saw my sentiment was on the stream. So obviously, shout out to you guys. See Kishan talking. Let me see what you guys are saying. Oracle target, a hope of 104k. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the main outer rim of the equilibrium. So that's the main point we have to say and print above to actually stay in the potential for going to 116k, 125k, whatever it is. The prerequisite for that is going to be coming up above 104.5k and printing above that, because that's kind of been the deciding factor. Because over the general kind of position Bitcoin's had, it's been stuck in between kind of the two outer rims of equilibrium. One being 94ish k, and then the other one being 104.5k. So that's kind of been the range we've been stuck in for the past, however long, start middle of November time, whatever. So that's kind of what we need to break out of. And I think this run towards it is going to be the one, personally. Considering external kind of TA, especially with the Elliott waves and whatever, that's kind of given a bit more of an alignment with other kind of confluence of other kind of methods, if you will. So I do think we will see this in this run up. So if you did want to get into a Bitcoin trade, I think now is a good time, regardless of it being exactly 96.5k, 97.5k. It's still a good time, regardless. Depending on where you want to go to, and depending on how much time you want to stay in a trade for, you could probably trade it on the way up. If you want to do smaller term trades with maybe higher leverage or whatever, you could probably trade us on the way up, and then have more trades, but less time in trade. But for me personally, I just want to do like one or two trades which are more longer term, which span a movement for Bitcoin, which in this case for me is going to be going towards 106.5k, which can also be, if you want to play a longer trade for Bitcoin, could also be towards 125k. So yeah, so let's go onto the 4 hour, have a bit more of a shorter analysis, maybe over the next day or two or three, and then we'll move on to Ethereum and Solana. Anyway, so so pretty good entry for that trade there. Obviously, now starting to come up. We've been higher. Obviously, this is kind of our downtrend here. A lot of lower highs and lower lows. We have also now done a higher high here and starting to potentially do a higher low on Bitcoin as well, aka basically saying we're now going to start to be in an uptrend. Kind of reflective of what we have on the weekly, being that print off the breaker block. We have that kind of reflection, being that we are starting to do an uptrend for the 4 hour. So obviously we're probably going to do that higher low, because again the low has to be higher than 94,700. Because you can see like kind of the trend has been like that, and now we've done the high. Now we can print at 95.7. We can bounce off 95.7, and now that's going to be our higher low, and then in theory that is now our trend upwards towards whatever. Okay, so I don't think 102.5k is going to be difficulty anymore, because that is where our print has majoritively been in. I don't think that's going to be difficulty. I think the next point is going to be 99.5k, this kind of breaker block. However, like I said, we've already had kind of tests into it. We've already had us coming into it and coming out of it. So I do think we will finally see ourselves kind of come up and actually, surpass it. Basically giving us a support point at 99.5k and actually continuing onwards. Kind of doing our thing like this, kind of finding support here, maybe a bit of resistance, finally finding support 102k and kind of doing our thing. So in terms of difficulty, I don't think I see much difficulty, until maybe 106k, 106.5k. Again, to point out one of the areas we do have which has been difficulty, if I unhide it, let's see, yeah, it is this area, 106,700. That is pretty much the next area of difficulty I see. Now, to be fair though, on the lower trends, I did draw this in before I started the stream. We do have this high low point at 98.5. Okay, so like I said, I think 99.5, 98.5 is going to be difficult, but I think from there, I don't think we're going to see much more difficulty. You know, I really don't think we're going to see anything stop us before we kind of pump. You know, I think that the main issue is going to be getting above 98.5 and then getting above maybe 100k. That's kind of really realistically it. But I think the one thing I can confirm on a personal note, and obviously not financial advice, I think from 100k onwards, there'll be no difficulty until we see 106.5k. Personally, we'll probably see some difficulty, you know, 98.5, 100k, like I said. But from there, no. We've got multiple supports. We've got breaker blocks which aren't resistance. We've got all this kind of, you know, not being resistance basically up until 106k. So I do definitely think we're gonna have a nice fast movement back upwards for Bitcoin, because again, this dump has resulted from a massive move down which didn't see any stops. Again, if our dump from 106k all the way down to obviously where I talked about 192.5k, whatever down here, if that started to see, you know, if that was actually a trend downwards, you know, we found support, then we found resistance and continued like that until we saw 92.5k, I'd be very concerned. You know, I'd be a lot more concerned than I am now. But we didn't see that. You know, obviously we did come up to 102k. We did find resistance there, like I talked about on the stream before last. But I mean, from there, I don't see it. I really don't. I think we'll go up just as easy as we came down, and I think we'll really easily see 105.5k, 106.5k. You know, before anyone knows. So yeah, I'm pretty positive on Bitcoin. The main sentiment I would take away from this is whatever time frame you want to trade on, I would consider long. Again, if you're trading the 1 hour and you know we're looking at the 1 hour, yeah, I guess considering where we've come from and we've come up and we could have a bounce, maybe come back down towards 96.5. So maybe wait. You know, if you want to get a good entry, obviously you want to look on the lower time frames. If we even go to the 15-minute, you know, you could maybe wait for a We've started to do lower lows now. You could maybe wait for us to retrace a bit back towards 96.5k and maybe enter there if you haven't entered already. So if you wanted to kind of optimize and get a really good entry and try your best to try and get a good entry, you could probably wait a tiny bit longer, maybe towards, you know, a couple hours or whatever, maybe come into tomorrow morning, whenever that, how long it takes, you know. I think we will retrace back down a tiny bit. But I think you know, we're on the 15-minute here. I do think we will do a higher low in this kind of period. So whether that be, you know, back towards 96k, I think it's going to be 96.5k. So I think this could be a good area to enter if you haven't entered already. But from that position upwards, it's really kind of left, you know, to your own devices, if you will, where you want to get out, you know, 100k, you want to get out 106.5k, or do maybe a lower leverage so it's less fees and go all the way up towards, you know, 125k, which I won't do personally because it's going to take too long. You know, I'd rather get out a considerably high and then wait for it to come down again and then long again, let's say. So again, the only difficulty I really see in this period in between where we are and 125k is realistically going to be this equilibrium and 118, 116k. So yeah, that is it for Bitcoin. I will move on now to Solana and so on and so forth. Okay, let's see what we're going on. So, I came from the 4 hour, on the weekly now. I need to drink water actually, because my throat is. Okay. So I can't remember what we left off last with Solana. I think it was printing above $197, which we've done. So again, equally good right there. If I zoom in quickly though, to show you guys what I was really talking about. Let's do daily instead so you can really see. So yeah, this candle was our print, okay? Oh no, it's Sunday. Here it is. So basically $200, $201, $200. This was the area where we need to print above and kind of stay above Solana so that we could stay in our trend on the weekly, okay? Because if you don't know, the trend, from what I see anyway personally, has been kind of this going on, you know, coming up towards a high end and then kind of following this higher low trend upwards we've seen for Solana. So I think we're going to do exactly that. $202 right now, pretty good. I think we're going to proceed upwards. Now the difference I see with these previous two bounces and the one we're going to have soon, obviously following with the ideology that Bitcoin's going to proceed or exceed even some of its highs, coming up towards 116k, 125k, whatever. I think this breaker block is going to really help us at $245. Additionally, we do have 243, which is one of the important numbers, this orange line here. So we do have kind of a stack of numbers, which I think is going to be really positive for us for Solana, especially considering this is quite a higher time frame order block, which is obviously going to be a positive breaker block. I think this is going to be good support. 243 to the 245 area here. The only important thing we have to do is print above 269 in order for us to confirm above this, kind of range we're in. So if I zoom out and show you guys, this has kind of been the area we've been stuck in. This 0 to 243 has been the range we've been in the entire history, or in this case, the entire history of Solana I have, but the entire history of Solana full stop. I think the biggest turning point is going to be printing above the 269 or the 270, wherever it is exactly. That is going to be one of the most important things for Solana in terms of its longer term, especially on the weekly, the longer term thing Solana does. Again, proceeding to be in 243 to the 487, wherever it is exactly, here, or 486. This is really, really important. So I do think this is going to be our the equal thing we have for Bitcoin, which is 125k. I think this is the equal for Solana, which is coming up towards 269 and printing above that. So I think in terms of our trend, what it's so far been, a lot of higher lows and then especially higher highs. Considering this being our high at 264 and then another high at 296. In theory, following this trend, we should do another higher high, come up towards 307. Hopefully on a weekly print there, hopefully being above the 28, the 269, which will then be above the purple line, which is the expansion line, and then obviously therefore allowing us to be in between 243 and 486, and whatever, finding resistance at $340. So I think again, very similar to Bitcoin. Now is a good time to buy Solana. Now is a good time to get to a long. Not financial advice at all. If I was you, or if it was a personal thing, if it was just me, I would be looking to get into a longer term trade for Solana. In terms of trading on the 1 hour, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it'll be a different story. Again, it'll be a different trend entirely. If we lower the range, maybe to the 81 or whatever it is, we can see we're currently stuck into equilibrium. So very similar to Bitcoin and the scenario we have there with being stuck in equilibrium. Very similar for Solana. We are currently inside of equilibrium, bouncing, in between of 209 and the 195. So again, similar story, but you can kind of see the difference in between, this area, obviously this area as well. So you can see multiple bounces off the top end of this equilibrium, and then we surpassed, found resistance and kind of did our thing. We've now surpassed it again, and now we're starting to do some higher lows and higher highs kind of coming upwards, which is a good thing. I do think, this might even allow us to finally do a higher high above the 209 kind of area here, and do our thing up here. So I hope we can do that for Solana. I think we will. Considering what the market trend's going to be with Bitcoin, especially, I think we are going to be seeing some higher highs there, especially. So if you want to get in a trade, I think Solana, and pretty much everything across the board, because considering what the market's done, especially with how not artificial but considerate, or what's the word for it? I don't know, the how everything has fallen, unanimously across the board. I think everything's going to have an equal movement upwards as well, in terms of if Bitcoin's going up, I think Solana's going to go up. If Solana's going up, I think Ethereum's going to go up, and everything there, especially Ethereum as well, because again, that was probably one of the biggest falls. Obviously, again, some of the coins will have different percentages, but over the top coins, I think Ethereum was one of the biggest falls we had, coming down to $2,000, which is pretty crazy. So obviously, it's kind of a story of, instead of looking at which coins are going to go up, it's more so of which coin do you want to get into? Which coin do you think is going to have a higher return based on how you want to trade? Is realistically what it is, boiled down to now. Because I think pretty much everything's going to go up, in their respective ranges, in their respective resistance points, in their respective kind of highs and lows, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, I can only really comment, 100% on the longer term, which for me is going to be, now's a good time to buy. And I think, obviously, like I said, Bitcoin, 125k. Solana, 269, for example, or obviously in super, maybe not super long term, but in pretty long term, over these highs, taking maybe a couple of weeks to happen, it would come in towards $300, let's say. So again, that's a really long-term thing for Solana, but it kind of orchestrates the trend for Solana, over not even just, a couple of days, but weeks, So if you're thinking, okay, what's the trend going to be? I want to trade the shorter term, but I want to know what's going on in Solana, so I know what our sentiment is. I think it's going to be positive. Bitcoin, I think, is positive. Solana is positive. Probably when I go onto Ethereum, it's going to be positive as well in terms of our sentiment. So whether you want to trade, long-term trades, which take, quite a lot of days to happen, maybe coming into next month, and really get a more of a base level percentage moving upwards. So that's kind of what I'd say personally. You could have that longer term moving upwards. So anyway. Sorry about that. So I'm just changing the range quickly so we can kind of show you guys. So yeah, back onto this before I go on to Ethereum. As a final thing, let me scroll again quickly. Yeah, I had this. This is like old stuff here. This was like quite a while ago, actually. But again, these could probably be very long-term prices here. 313 again, very similar to 296, I think it was exactly for that price bounce. But again, the difference I see. This is the last point I wanted to make. Obviously, before I move on to Ethereum, because again, we're 30 minutes in, which is pretty fast for us. Because I do yap a lot normally, so I think Ethereum might require quite a lot of talking though, because it is very different. But anyway, whatever. The last thing I want to talk about is the position of this equilibrium on the higher range, which is in between this 299, 300-ish area, all the way up to 430. So consider the idea as well, to be careful, that $300 is probably where we could see a bit of difficulty, considering it. And again, this is on the weekly, bear that in mind. So this isn't only just going to be on the 4 hour and we're going to surpass it in 2 days, 3 days. This is something on the weekly which is going to, take a while to get towards, and then obviously take a while to probably bounce off, and then again. So, if I was to orchestrate it again, I don't think this is going to exactly happen, but if it was to be kind of that sort of bounce where it continues upwards on the weekly towards $300, I think that's going to be one of our considerable ones. And remember as well, 299 to 300 is quite a psychological difficult area to get above, not only for Solana, but changing one of those hundredths of a value is going to be pretty difficult. So do bear that in mind. So I think this kind of orchestrates the idea of kind of turning a new page where it goes from 299 within that area to $300. So that might kind of give us difficulty in terms of having an equal high type of thing here. But again, do we really think Solana is going to be in a downtrend on the weekly? In March time. I think from now on till, maybe this month, next month, coming into April, is going to be pretty positive. So I do think we'll probably surpass this, maybe, continue our higher high into maybe $320 area up here, find support here, and then have this whole spiel up here, similar to how we have with Bitcoin in terms of, finding difficulty in this, equilibrium area. So that's the last thing I want to say on Solana for the higher term. So if you do want to get in, now's a good time. Not financial advice. So last coin, probably look at Ethereum. Again, it depends on how long I spend on Ethereum. If it's like 15 minutes, we'll have quite a bit of time left. So I might try and look at a different coin. If anyone has any coins, I would put in now so I can maybe look at it. So let's go on to the Ethereum chart quickly. So let's try and make this not as messy. So let me have a look. Here it is. So this was the main area. Again, like I said, very different. Very different, Solana and Bitcoin, good periods, very good periods, especially with Bitcoin being above equilibrium in a good scenario anyway. But obviously with Solana, it was kind of a different trend. But in Ethereum's case, our fall all the way down to basically $2,000 is probably one of the largest ones. And again, I did kind of preface that before we saw the fall, talking about the fact that we weren't really respecting the equilibrium that well on Ethereum, especially in this period, me drawing this rectangle, we weren't really respecting these support points at 3086 or 226 or 27, basically 27. Obviously in this case we are now starting to see that. If I was to zoom in, we could see that probably a bit better if we go along here. So this is a previous I don't know if it's a support resistance. So this is a breaker block, I believe a breaker block. In terms of this is a negative order block, so it's going to be a positive breaker block, like I said. we are obviously below it. And again, this is something we looked at on Monday, which was like 2 days ago. So if we go down to 2817 maybe, I think this is the one I looked at. Oh no, here it is. There it is. Yes, this was the main one. This is the main thing I talked about on Friday, sorry. Being the support point for Ethereum, kind of the stopping point, similar to how Bitcoin had its, whatever it was exactly, the 3,000 or $95,000. This was obviously this case for Ethereum, being 2,600-ish for Equilibrium. Again, very nice bounce here, very nice bounce. Now, again, things with Ethereum, which I've noticed with these ranges, is it can be very, very accurate, especially with Equilibriums, especially here at 2,566, or here at 2,521. These are very good bounces. These are very good respects of the Equilibrium. So again, I wasn't expecting us to come any lower than these areas, which I alluded to on Friday, saying I don't think we'll come lower than this. I think we'll slowly start to come up again. So I think Ethereum will have to lower our standards, because again, we've fallen below a lot for Ethereum. So it's going to take us a bit more to get back up to where we were. So I think it's going to be a bit of a slower process for Ethereum. But again, it's only been a couple of days for since obviously Friday. I think my prospects for Solana and Bitcoin were a lot higher, and a lot more positive, and had a lot more potential, because again, this isn't really something that strong. So let's go up to probably a higher range, because this isn't a very nice range. I think I can only really look at the long term for Ethereum. I'll go 6561. So yeah, this is, again, if we look at the respect of what we've had for Ethereum, we had this high area here, we had this low area, which has been pretty much respected. This is not very good. Again, the red area, it's all right, but it's not really anything special. So it's mainly the outer kind of scale of the Equilibrium, which is really getting used, obviously in this chart, as I can see. So similar to how we had last time we were down here, a lot of difficulty at 2,689. So I think we will have difficulty there, mainly. So in terms of getting back above 2,700 and continuing upwards, it will be quite a bit harder to do. And not only that, we do have this area up here, 2817. We are going to see difficulty in these areas, especially if we have a rejection block, which we do have here. So if we do draw this quickly, I think I'd use blue for this. If we now go to the lower time frames, you can kind of see, we do have this kind of form of the rejection block, resistance into it. So we do have, unlike Solana and Bitcoin, which kind of don't have a lot above them until we see these high prices, Ethereum is quite a bit of a different story, where we have, 2817. We have this rejection block, which will probably be a bit of difficulty. If we scroll back upwards, we'll probably see 3087, wherever it is exactly. Go to the 729, for example, we'll probably see different ones. For example, Equilibrium's at 3200. Also have to get back above it at 2900. So just to compare, just try and give the idea that we have a lot to work with in terms of the negative side of things. We have a lot to go through for Ethereum. So I think, if I was to trade something out of the big three, it would be Solana or Bitcoin rather than Ethereum. But again, my personal opinion as well, by the way. But I think it's going to be very hard to get back above again, if Bitcoin's going up rapidly, if the market's going up rapidly, Ethereum will probably follow suit and break above these areas pretty easily. But again, it's something just to bear in mind that Ethereum, in theory, has a lot more resistance areas and difficult positions to get above to actually see any sort of profit. So in terms of long-term goals I have for Ethereum, or longer-term goals on the weekly, it is this kind of main area at 4,000 to get above. So if I zoom out quickly. So again, you can kind of see on the long-term kind of area, we have 4,800 as one of the maxes, but we never saw this in this area. But if we kind of compare a long-term kind of trend where it's like, okay, we have this arc, we have this kind of down flag, this bear flag, if you will, whatever, which is kind of a bounce now. So in terms of a fundamental kind of pattern, you may see, we could see this potential kind of thing going on, moving up here up towards $5,000, whatever it is. So there's technically that, if we were to look at that, but just looking at the ranges as a whole, we have this equilibrium which we haven't been able to get above and stay above. So I think Ethereum will be a bit more difficult to get above. But again, external things outside the market or things which may influence Ethereum may help to boost us up a bit more. But as I see it, I think Ethereum has a bit more to get through to actually see some high prices. So So yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think of the long-term things. It's kind of making me think about, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. I remember I was who was I telling again? I think it was Henri, the guy who helped on Wednesday. I remember telling him to buy it like I can't remember what price Solana was, but it was ridiculous. So it's kind of interesting to see how easy some of these coins are to get up and down, especially with Solana and Bitcoin. But again, with Ethereum, it's always kind of been a bit difficult to kind of have that movement up and downwards, which has been drastic. I think Solana, obviously, with certain prices having their respective ranges, it makes it easier or harder. I think Ethereum is a bit harder to have those sort of really big movements up and downwards. Obviously, well, especially in this case. So I think it's hard for Ethereum. It really is. Considering this whole thing we've got going on. I think the goal I'd have is probably getting above about 4,200 is realistically what I have. So I don't really have much on Ethereum. I'm kind of just cycling through the time frames and realizing how much we have above us. But again, I don't think it'd be too hard to get above. I really don't think it's going to be like difficult to get up towards 3,080. I think it's majoritively this area. It's majoritively this which we have of difficulty. Again, massive movement downwards. And you think about Bitcoin, you think about Solana and what they've had, especially coming from their movement downwards. Let's just like show it as an example. Like Bitcoin, if we zoom in a bit and not have, maybe go on the 4 hour, let's say, we have our movement downwards. And then we've had, obviously, we've had our downtrend, but we've had that massive move back upwards, especially here. You can see coming from, 91,200 all the way up to 202K. And obviously, we've come down a bit. Solana, very similar story. But then comparing Ethereum, we haven't had that massive pump upwards. We kind of came all the way down, came up, but we didn't really have that respective, considering where we came from, we didn't have that respective move upwards towards like 3,200. It was just like a tiny bit of a move upwards. We haven't had that massive pump upwards. So, looking from where we came from, it's just really just disappointing. So, yeah, I think the prospect of Ethereum for me is a bit less. So, I guess we'll see. I'm thinking I'm looking at a different coin. Because again, I've got like 19 minutes left. I prefaced this on Friday. I have informational streams and then streams where I kind of gloat a bit and talk about what I've already talked about and then give a bit extra. Because again, it's not like I look at the 1 hour on every stream. I look at the daily and the weekly and obviously the 4 hours sometimes. It's a lot more of a longer term kind of analysis, which again doesn't really help when I have a 2-day gap in between my streams. So there's not too much price action to talk about. All I can really confirm is that we've printed above where we need to print on Solana and Bitcoin. So obviously now's a great time to get the longs in, not financial advice. So what I might do, I might actually have a look at some coins or a coin which I really hate. I could probably do Trump in preparation because I do want to do a video on Melania versus Trump. I think they suck. But in terms of which one you'd buy, because I know some people have asked about that in terms of Trump and Melania. I'll give my straight answer here. If I had to buy one, I was forced by a whole firing squad, and they forced me to buy one, and I had no say in it at all. I'll buy Trump, not financial advice, because I think Melania is a complete waste of time. I think in terms of the prospects of if the response of the price dependent on what these people do in their actual lives, Trump's actually going to have more of a influence than Melania. Because what does Melania do? She stands there in the background and kind of has a hat on and just kind of sits there, and then Trump does everything else. So is she realistically going to have an influence on the price? And is it realistically going to actually pump and actually have a good ecosystem? Because again, meme coins, they're a waste of time. But with Trump, like I was alluding to, if he actually does something, it will result in a response, in that coin. So I think if I had to buy one, it would probably be Trump on the prospect that he will do something and it will cause the price to go up or go down. Obviously, I haven't done any analysis, but it would be hopeful that it would go up because, if you were to futures trade Trump coin on some decentralized exchange which has futures on some meme coins, which I don't know if there is anything on futures for Trump, but if I had to buy one, it'd be Trump. So yeah, what I'm thinking, though, I could probably go onto Trump and do some analysis on it. I know some people have been interested in it, so I probably will do that. Obviously, I'm going to have to draw my ranges, though, because I don't actually have in my ranges. Let's see. I want to see what exchange to do it on. I might just do this one. and draw my ranges here. So yeah, I guess we'll just draw my ranges. This is not my thing at all. Here it is. Let me shimmy these over. So if I draw my range quickly, I'll actually have a look at Trump. And again, I wouldn't advise to buy these coins realistically. They do kind of suck. But for people who might be in them or whatever, I don't personally like meme coins or anything like this. So it's kind of a personal opinion. Whether you like them or not is obviously up to you. But I wouldn't really look at these coins. But again, these ranges are great to be looking at. These kind of range of these sorts of coins which don't really have a lot of data to them, because again, if I was to look at something like Market Cipher, which I used to look at quite a while ago, then it would probably give a different result. So for example, with Trump, it doesn't have, again, it has some data, but again, it doesn't have that much data realistically, so I probably wouldn't be able to have money flow or anything. But it'd be interesting to see if there's a Kanye coin or anything, because considering what he's been doing on the internet recently, I would love to see how that's responded, and see what people have been doing with that coin. If there is, you know what, well, I'm gonna find out actually. Is there a Kanye coin? There surely is a Kanye. Surely there's a Kanye coin. Yeah, there's a Kanye coin. It's down 40%. So yeah. I mean, I don't think we're surprised. I'm probably not gonna be able to find it because it's probably not on anything. What is it on actually? Okay, it's on here. Let me have a look here. See if I can find a chart for Yay. There is actually a coin though. Well, there is actually a Kanye West coin. It's not going to be on TradingView. That's all I know. I just know it's not going to be on TradingView because again, it's useless. Okay, let me try this. Let me try to find it here. Okay, here we go. So there is a chart. It got created. Okay. So it got created 2 days ago. So no surprise there. Classic pump and dump. No surprise there. So from start, it doesn't even give a percentage. Yeah, okay, pretty much a waste of time there for Kanye coin, because again, it literally started what? When was it exactly? 6 a.m. 8th of February. When he was probably doing his crazy talk. Obviously in that period of time, pumped and dumped. I'm surprised there hasn't already been one, because again, that was only 2 days ago. I'm surprised there wasn't one, to begin with. Because again, he's a bit of a how would you put this? A bit of a, he talks a lot online, and he talks a lot about unsavory things. So I'm surprised there wasn't a coin anyway. But anyway, that's off topic. Let's actually just kind of continue on Trump coin, which is probably a waste of time. But anyway, so I've got some ranges here. Let me group them quickly. There we go. So looking like we're at equilibrium as well for this. So if there was any prospects of Trump going up, it probably could be in a good scenario to do that. If you can clearly see the bounce off equilibrium and proceed back upwards, above this line. So in terms of obviously coming down slowly in this downtrend, what could be a turning point? Well, now, if I was to say any turning point, it would be now in terms of bouncing off this equilibrium, having a trend upwards or whatever, maybe coming down a bit more to actually get a good trend. But you can see clear as day, like lower highs and lower lows coming down here. So we'd have to be higher than $18, basically, whatever this is. So if I draw a line quickly, I have to get above 18.95, or 17.9 of $18 basically. So we'd have to get higher than that, which is obviously, a considerable tax. But if you kind of look back though, it seems like we have relative equal lows down here. So, we could have the liquidity to do that. If I just draw this quickly, hold on. There we go. You can see like, multiple lows down here, coming down here, more lows again, massive dump downwards, come right back up towards it. We could probably see from here a turning point to kind of continue to go back upwards for Trump. But again, I don't know the history of Trump. I don't know what sort of, I don't know if there's any selling or what the circulating supply is versus the max supply. I don't know anything about Trump. So I actually don't know if there's, the ecosystem, basically. I don't expect there to be much of an ecosystem for Trump, but yeah, I don't really know what it is in this case. But from what it looks like to me, is it went up and now it's just continues to go downwards, and it's not really going to go back upwards. But it seems like we have had a bit of a stopping point at the equilibrium. So if we had any prospects of going upwards, it would probably be now. So if you're someone, because I think there were some people who had maybe interest in buying Trump or whatever in the Telegram. If you're someone who's bought it, then, you know, why? Number one, why have you done that? It's probably not the best idea, not financial advice. But number two would be, I don't know if you have entered that, but it might continue to go back upwards. You know, it might actually come back upwards, depending on what you bought, obviously. So, again, I think it's a bit of a waste of time, though. I really do think these are a waste of time, these coins, because they just generally suck. So let me do the 81 quickly. Let me just do a different range, just to get a bit more of a oversight on it. So I'm gonna do the 81. Okay, so yeah, we can see clearly this massive fall from grace. Basically, you can see, and again, most coins follow this process of spawning in, basically finding a nice pump up towards the high end of whatever range it is currently in, finding it kind of come down, especially in this period of time, coming down to equilibrium, bounce equilibrium, resistance at equilibrium. This is kind of the turning point. If you were in this coin at 11 p.m. 21st January, I think this would be the best time to get out, because you're never going to see a higher price than this. When you see that bounce of equilibrium, if you're in a new coin and you have these ranges, obviously join Telegram if you're interested, whatever. If you see that is the perfect time to get out. You know, that you'll never want to stay in a coin if you see that sort of stuff, especially in a coin like this where it's literally started 18th of January. This is the best time, but the rest of it sucks. So, if this was any good coin, I'd be like, okay, well, we're on a pretty bit of a low end. So if I zoom in, so yeah, I mean, again, in any normal coin, it'd be like, okay, yeah, we have this lower end of things, and then we have this upper end of things, and I don't know how to put it, but it would go up and it wouldn't suck, basically. Well, I don't even know what else to look at, because this sucks. It generally sucks. It is the worst thing to look at. All I'll do is I'll go to the 9. The 9 will work. This will actually give some. You know what? This will give some good information. So I'll do 9 to 18. There we go. So look, I actually get two ranges like this. I want to see the final thing I want to look at on this is some shorter term on Trump. So I don't know. I'm interested, I guess, to see how it's going to be. Very, very interesting as well. This equilibrium down here. But other than that, again, useless coin, really useless. Again, I would not want to look at Melania, because again, if this is bad, I don't even I don't even want to know what Melania would be like, because this is appalling to look at. Again, it's kind of the same story as the 27, though, realistically, because there's not anything going on. Again, very similar, because again, I'm on the lower time frame. It's like, what? Like, okay, cool. Yeah, we have this response off the high and the low here, but again, nothing really kind of looks interesting, especially here. This is kind of what the turning point was, again, especially here, finding this print, these prints below expansion, kind of proving that expansion line bounce off the high. Okay, we are now in this range, and now we're going to suck all the way down here. So the prospects, either we surpass and get above the $17, $18, and $19 mark for Trump, or we go back down to equilibrium. What's the likelihood? So in terms of what I said on 27, we could go up. Again, I still think I think this coin sucks completely. I think the only chance it would ever have to do anything positive would be if Trump did something positive, which, considering on your political status and your position on left or right, will determine if you agree or disagree that Trump could do something positive. I'm not American, so whatever. So that would kind of only really I can't think of anything else. That's the only real thing which would make this go up. So again, I wouldn't buy Trump. I wouldn't buy Melania. I wouldn't buy any of it. Let's have a quick look at Melania though, because this is going to be really good for my video. Because it means Okay, so this started similar time frame. Again, even suckier. Really, really bad here. Probably worse than Trump somehow. So I'm gonna do some more quick ranges because again I've got six, maybe 7 minutes actually. I've got 7 minutes left. So that's about $1. So what I could probably do is do I'll do the 81 and I'll do it in pennies basically, which will basically be $1.62. And I'll probably go from there. It's not the 6. There we go. And then what's that? The 243. There we go. So I'll see. So we see. Okay. So this is a good response. If we even zoom in more than the hour. Actually, let's go back to the hour. The hour's pretty good. Okay. Pretty good there. I mean, again, not good in terms of it being on the lower end. But you know, decent responses. But again, there's no positivity here. I don't see a single bit of positivity at all. Actually, let me go to a different range. So I'm just renaming these. There we go. So 243. So we can get a bit more of a wider range now, even though there's no wider range because it sucks. So we've got the 4 hour now. Here we go. So it seems like we actually somehow have support at equilibrium for Melania, and we have come from a decently bad area for the obviously the highest end or whatever it was. So if I do 2.43, I think it's 79. It'd be 4.86. I think it is. There we go. Yeah, that looks about right. Especially with the equilibrium there. I've moved it. Whoops. Yeah, so if we move it back quickly, yeah, that looks pretty good, especially with that equilibrium. You know, finding support there, and then flipping it, and then finding support at this lower end, and then flipping it, bouncing off the expansion. Yeah, this looks pretty good, and then coming down from here. Okay, cool. So we've got a good base to look at. So if we go back to the 4 hour quickly, prospects of it going up, 0. I would say. I think these coins suck. Horribly suck. I would never buy them in a million years. In terms of if they're having any prospect of going up, well, this is a breaker block, a positive one. Let me create that quickly, and there we go. So a positive breaker block there. So potential for support point, but again, in order for it to be support point, we'd actually have to get up to it, which we're not going to do. This looks like it actually is has been respected as a resistance area. You can see there. So we've tested that. So in terms of it, if we had any chance of going above $1.57, it would be okay. We've used that, and then we can flip it now to $1.50 and then come upwards. So potential support there as well. But again, are we realistically going to do anything for Melania? I don't think so. I think this coin completely sucks. I think it's probably one of the worst things I've ever seen. And apart from that, I don't really see much else. I mean, there's kind of this order block here, but again, it is a negative breaker block. It is a positive order block. So in theory, it would be okay. Well, we've found a positive order block, and we've used it. And in theory, we should then come downwards and then flip it and use it as a resistance. But again, very similar to how we have with Bitcoin. I don't know how I'm even comparing Melania with Bitcoin. This is at equilibrium. So regardless of the idea that this is going to be a resistance area, it's not going to be. So I'm trying to think. I don't think this has any potential. Because again, like I said, I was like, oh yeah, we could slip below it, and then come below it, and then use resistance, and then find even difficulty. I unfortunately think we have equilibrium. But again, considering the idea that is a trash coin, it probably will surpass these areas. We probably will come down. Considering the idea that we've got this downtrend, we probably will come down. And bounce up here, and then surpass this, and then find resistance at $1.43. So I've spent quite a while looking at this. I know we've got 2 minutes left. I've kind of filled my time because, again, I looked at Bitcoin and Ethereum slung pretty quickly. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any scenario for Melania going up unless Melania does something cool or interesting, which realistically, is she going to do anything? No. Again, same with Trump. The only prospect it has for going up is going to be, if he does something political, which is good, I suppose. That's the only thing I can realistically think about, which would make the coin go up. So I suppose I've done the TA for the video now, so I probably will make a video on Melania Trump. So you've seen it here. There's another. Let me get this. Oh, isn't that nice? So do have another breakable block, which is supposed to be support, but again, I don't think we're ever going to see this. So Melania go up, probably never. Trump go up, probably never, but depending on if he does anything political at all. I wouldn't buy any of these coins. I won't waste my time. I probably will make a video on this though and compare their charts and compare them to their prospects. It'll probably be a very short video. It'll probably be a video which is not going to say anything new of what I've just haven't said here already, because again, this sucks and I wouldn't buy them. So to take away, I've got a minute left. I know I've kind of yapped a bit about coins which no one cares about, because again, I really don't think you should care about this, but if you care about it, you care about it. To take away from the stream, Bitcoin go up. Where does it go up to? 106.5k I think is one of them. I think we're gonna definitely see some difficulty at 104.5k, because again, that's going to be a difficult area. I think prospects for 116k and 125k. If you don't know why, go back in the stream. I'm not gonna say it again. Solana, support $200. I think $300 is going to be big resistance for one of the big area. Ethereum, a bit of a different story. Again, you can go back in the stream and watch that if you've just joined or whatever. I think we do have a bit more difficulty there in comparison to Solana and Bitcoin. So I think if I had more positive prospects on any coins out of the three which I've looked at, because again, do not consider Trump or Melania anything considerable to invest in, because it's just a waste of money. I would probably say Bitcoin and Solana, just from what I have personal. Again, Ethereum could pump and ignore all the resistances that I've got, because again, it could very well do that. But as a personal, based on what I have in front of me, based on my charts, I just think it's going to be Bitcoin and Solana, which right now are going to be the easier coins to go up. So if I was to trade any of them, it would be Bitcoin and Solana. If you wanted to have an easier time with trades which go up or down, or in this case up. Obviously, if you want to trade the resistance line for Ethereum, you very well can do. It's not anything to say. So looking pretty Sigma. I'm looking very, very awesome for the future of crypto over the next week or two, depending on how long it takes to get to 125, depending on how long it takes to 116k. But I am in a trade to 106.5k, so I'm pretty excited to wait for that, basically, because all I have to really do is wait for that to pump. Is realistically all it is. So I suppose I'll wait. I'll keep you guys posted. Hopefully the Friday stream will be a lot more interesting than it has been in this stream, because this stream has been a bit it's just me talking about things I've already talked about. So hopefully Friday will be a bit more exciting. We'll see how far along in our progress is, see if anything's changed, see if anything's different. But if I notice the day before nothing's really changed, I might try and prepare some other coins to look at as well, because again, the only reason I looked at Trump and Melania right now was the fact that I got to 20 minutes left on the stream and I didn't have any coins to talk about, so I thought I might as well do some Melania and Trump analysis. Again, I'm not very surprised. I don't think we're going to go up with them. I think they suck. I think they completely suck. So I wouldn't buy them. I wouldn't waste my time with them. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm going to end the stream now. So I'll see you guys. I might see you guys Wednesday or Thursday, because I think we are doing another stream then. Obviously, go to the Telegram and check it out. But anyway, I've already said goodbye, and whatever, we'll leave now. So thank you guys. See you Friday. Maybe see you Wednesday, Thursday, whenever it is, for another game. Obviously, you guys posted in Telegram. So if you do want to know how to get involved in the giveaway or whatever, there's actually a video on the channel of the game and how it works and whatever you have to do. So if you don't know what the game is or whatever, you want to kind of know about it before Wednesday or Thursday, I would suggest to go and watch that video and also be in the Telegram. So other than that, I will definitely see you Friday, maybe see you Thursday, Wednesday, and yeah, thank you guys so much, and good luck, I guess. I think that was a good time to buy, not financial advice. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I'll see you guys Friday, and yeah.